Hi all, Bill Greenberg with PhoneScholar.com. Today is Tuesday, June 29th, 2010, and here's a summary of what's on the website today. Last week was the FCC's World Wireless Travel Week, and many people over the years have asked me about taking their cell phones overseas and what's the best way to do this expense-wise, stuff like that. And I've given them a number of pieces of advice, which is included here, which I'll go into in a second. So basically the title is FCC Advises Travelers on International Wireless Access. And here's a couple of things that they make sure, and this is what I always tell people, so just want to kind of go over point by point. Check with your provider. First of all, you may need to turn on, if you're going overseas with your phone, you may need to turn that on. For the longest time, and they may still do it, I'm not sure, T-Mobile, you had to call when you went overseas due to cloning. They didn't want people cloning and things like that, so they actually turned on the ability to use it globally, and there's a lot of carriers that do require that. You also want to check with your provider and get the rates and plans, or go on their website. All of them have international websites, and the rates, the per minute rate of what you're going to spend while you're in a certain country. Most of them are different, and they range anywhere from 99 cents a minute on up to $10 a minute. So you really want to check that out and make sure your money's spent the best way. Next, look for alternatives, and this is the one that I really talk about. If you have a GSM phone, or most of the world phones now, like the BlackBerry Storms and stuff from Verizon that have a GSM chip, you may be able to unlock the phone with the provider's help and then get a GSM card, a SIM card, an overseas SIM card. And that way you're not technically roaming overseas, you're roaming in their area or using their area. And if you don't go from city to city to city, so let's say you're in Paris and you get a Paris SIM card and you stay in Paris the whole time, it's all local calling. So the amount that you're going to spend is a whole lot less. If you can't unlock your phone or do anything like that, and one thing I recommend, and it's in every airport overseas just about of any major area, is they either rent or most of the time they just give you the phones. And it's a prepaid phone that you purchase for like 50 bucks, and it's just like over here, they give you a card or they give you a SIM that you put in there and you use it, and if you use it up, you can go get another one. A lot of times they don't even ask for the phones back because they give you real cheap phones, but it's a real economical way to do that if you're only going over there for a little while. And the other thing is, and there's another reason to do this, which I'll go into in a second, but remember, internet calling is very, very inexpensive using Skype or Wi-Fi. So if you don't absolutely have to use your phone and you have a laptop, or you want to use Skype on your phone, stuff like that, it's a very, very inexpensive way to make calls and use that. So you might want to check that out. Very, very careful. Make sure you have data support in the country. If you want to use your smartphone or even a laptop and get emails and things like that, and make sure the country that you're in supports the phone and the system that you have. There's a lot of countries that are not supportive or they don't have agreements, the carriers don't have agreements in those countries to use it. So you want to make sure, and not all data plans include or support roaming. Meaning you may be able to use a data plan over here, but again, the carrier doesn't have a contract where you're going for that, so you're not able to use data roaming and you won't get any data. So something to check it out. Now this is the reason why I went back to possibly renting a phone over there. You have to be very careful, especially using smartphones, because they are a theft target. Now in most major cities, your Parises, your Londons, your this, your that, where they have a full supply of smartphones and iPhones and stuff like that, it's not as critical. But if you go to Africa or Egypt or some of the lower income places where a lot of people may not be able to afford these phones, very, very important. It's a high theft issue. They will take your phone, and some people do get hurt. The other thing is, there's speculation, like in China, they say that it's a wide belief that they actually download all your content and information as soon as you start using your phone in the area. And many people say, how do they do that? Well, you're using their cell sites, and their cell sites can gather information from your phone, because when you hook into a cell site, it gives all the phone's information to be able to click it on. And then they have ways of drawing all that information. So if you don't want to be tracked by the government and like that, again, using a smartphone over there may not be the best thing. So you might want to bring a spare phone. If you have an old phone, an old Razor, an old whatever that you haven't been using for a while that's in a drawer, you might want to bring that, because again, if it's a GSM phone, you can slip a SIM card in there and use that. And 2, again, you're not using a smartphone, so that can help you out theft-wise, everything like that. And then the last thing is make sure of all rates and restrictions. Some countries have restrictions of use, especially on data. They have data restrictions, and if you go over, the charges can be very hefty. So I hope this helps you out if you're going overseas. If you have any questions about it, you can always write to me at blogquestions@phonescholar.com. Next, Clearwire Sprint expand 4G wireless service. I'm not going to go huge into this. They announced Richmond, Virginia, Salt Lake City, and St. Louis. But the reason why I put the story on there is they listed all 36 cities that the 4G wireless is now up and running. So you might want to check that out. They also talk about the Clear service, which is where Clearwire is. Clearwire and Sprint. Sprint is the majority owner of Clearwire, which is the 4G network. Clearwire is the one that puts out the network, and Sprint is the one that pays for it. Basically, is the best way I can describe it. But your 4G phone will work, should work in any Sprint or Clearwire area where there's a 4G signal. Clearwire just has modems and mobile hotspots and stuff like that. They don't offer actual phones. But I did put a link to the Clear website if you want to take a look at it and see what it does. Hands-on, Amazon's new Kindle app for Android. And Barbara Krasnoff from Computer World has a hands-on report of the Kindle app for the Android. And basically she said it's a good app, it's free, it does a lot of things. Unfortunately, it sounded like the sound portion when she downloaded an audio-video one didn't work with her device. And she said it's a great free app, it's nice to have, but it's not that much better than any of the other apps. And I did put a link to another app called Aldiko, A-L-D-I-K-O, which is an EPUB site for e-reading, so you can check that out. And lastly, this is good, Sprint halts Evo 4G update due to reports of bricking phones. And what was happening is when people were doing double uploading the update, their phones turned into a brick. And for those of you who don't know what phones turn into a brick, it literally is like a brick. It's a useless piece of equipment. What a lot of companies do, like with BlackBerries, if you have the enterprise network, you can turn the phone into a brick by taking out the content out and stuff like that if it's stolen, things like that. So the problem with this is if you go search for updates afterwards, it asks you then to reload the software, and that's when it was happening. So they turned off the over-the-air programming for now. Once they can fix it, they'll get it back. Under categories, yesterday I announced the Epic, the Vibrant, and the Fascinate Galaxy S-type phones for the 3 different carriers, Sprint, T-Mobile, and Verizon Wireless. And I put it kind of a one-story thing about all of them. Well, what I did is under each category, under Android, and then under Sprint, Verizon, and T-Mobile, I put a specific story about these phones under those, because each one has some internal stuff that's a little bit different, so you might want to check those out. If you're looking at the Galaxy S-type phones, you can go to Android and see all 3 of those specific articles, so I'm doing that for you. Under the Kindle, Apple, iPhone, and iPad categories, Amazon enriches Kindle for iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch, and basically like with the as I said, with the Android where the audio video didn't work, this one is for audio and video, and if you download an audio video book, you can get the audio and video with it now, so pretty cool. And then under Apple, AT&T, and iPhone, update, AT&T now selling iPhone 4 exhaust supplies. And as promised, today's June 29th, and AT&T has promised to have phones in the store, but again, they're running out of them very quickly. So you have to check with your local AT&T store. Apple's also running out of them, but again, you still have Radio Shack, Walmart, and Best Buy that you can get them from also. That's all I got for today. Have a great day. I will talk to you tomorrow, and for all your needs, www.phonescholar.com. Thanks.